Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my April wrap up. It's a little bit late, but I wanted to put it up anyway. I had a great reading month in April, mainly because of Genrethon. I read, I think, 6 books that week, and so I enjoyed most of them. If you're interested, then I'll link my wrap up down below because I don't want to just repeat what I said there and make this video too long. After Genrethon, I picked up Little Bee by Cleave. This is my BookTube Recommends project book. Somebody recommended this to me, and I got about 50 pages in before I kind of set it aside. I still want to continue reading it. I just wasn't interested in it at that time. After Genrethon, I kind of wanted something a little bit more easy to read, and so I picked up Illuminae instead. And Illuminae I had originally chosen for Genrethon just in case I could squeeze it in as a YA sci-fi. And I did not mean to read this book in one sitting, but that's what happened. And I think a lot of it has to do with the way it's put together, the story and the mystery, and it just made me want to keep reading. This book is set in the very far future, and we have two main characters, a young boy and a young girl, who live in a colony that gets attacked. And this book, Illuminae, is basically a report of what happened during that attack and what happened afterwards as they kind of escaped to another location. So Illuminae is kind of made up of chat logs, transcripts, memos, letters, photos, anything and everything that had to do with the ship and the attack, and kind of piecing together what might have happened, now that we are in the far future, looking back at this invasion. So the story centers around two young people who, like I said, were in the colony when it was attacked and escaped to a ship. We have a young girl who is kind of a hacker, prodigy type of person, and then we have the young boy who goes into the army or the fleet. And so we're looking through their chat logs and kind of seeing their stories as they're, put into the situation. As you read the book and as you read the report, you kind of start to piece together what happened, and you kind of get an inside look at this other mysterious element that wasn't, so obvious in the beginning. I'm glad I gave it a shot, and I'm really interested in reading more books like this. This isn't the most well-written book. It's definitely not the most well-written sci-fi book, but it was just fun to read, and so I really enjoyed it, especially after Genrethon. After Illuminae, I picked up Gone with the Wind again. I am still working on it, and it's taking me a little bit longer than I thought it would because I really want to enjoy the story. I don't want to push myself to just fly through it because I think there's a lot to this book and I don't want to miss any of it, so I'm still working on it. The last book that I picked up was the book that I chose for my Latino authors project. This is The Distance Between Us by Reyna Grande. The glare is a little bit weird. Reyna Grande grew up in Mexico and immigrated to the United States back in the late 80s. This was a very interesting look at immigration. I think a lot of people forget that when these families are trying to make it, most of the time they are separated, and sometimes they're separated for a long time. Reyna grew up in a poor town in Mexico. When she was about 4 years old, when she was about 2 years old, her father left for the United States to find work. Her mother followed 2 years after that. So when Reyna was 4, her mother left to the United States as well. And her parents did not return until about 7 years after that. So her parents separated, her mother came back, and she had another child with her, a new sister. When she came back, though, things were very different. Reyna was hoping that their mother would be a mother to them, and she just couldn't. Their mother was heartbroken and thinking a little bit too much about herself and her suffering. So because their mother was so absent in their life, their parents just in general, since she was 4, her older sister Mago and her younger brother Carlos, they were very, very close. Mago took on kind of a motherly role. Mago kind of had this idea that their father was going to come back and save them from their situation. Sure enough, he does return maybe a year or two after their mother does, and when he sees what conditions they're living in, he decides that he's going to take the chance and smuggle all 3 of them back into the United States. So they take about 3 tries to do that, and on the 3rd try they succeed and they end up in California. But things are not so easy there either. Their father has this dream of providing for his family and of giving his children a great education. But he has his own demons that he's fighting, and so he takes up drinking, and it's not a good ending for him. Reyna succeeds in learning English, even though it's very tough for her. She joins a lot of clubs and activities in high school, and she ends up going to college. She ends up being the only person in her family to go to college. Basically, this was just her story and how she came to be who she is today, how she was introduced to writing, and kind of her mentors, and you know, how it's never just as simple as we're going to the United States and making a new life and everything will be better and fixed, because it's not easy for these families. And so I really want to make sure that I love memoirs because I'm getting that aspect of the story. I'm reading about a person's real life and how they overcame a lot of struggles, a lot of hardships, and still managed to make something of themselves and still keep a very important part of their culture. And that's something that's very important to me, because I did move to the United States when I was 10, but I still have a lot of ties to my country and my culture, and even though I'm here, that's a very special part of me, and I love hearing about other people that are having that sort of mindset when it comes to their culture and their heritage. So I'm glad I picked it up, but I think this will be my last memoir for a while. I'm a little burned out on memoirs, and I'm hoping that my next choice for my Latino Projects book will be maybe some fiction or short stories, and I have something in mind already, so hopefully I can get my hands on it. So that's it for my April wrap-up. I had a great reading month, and I'm very excited about May. I have a couple of things planned. I have a buddy read with Kate and a couple other books that I've been meaning to get to, as well as my blind date with a book. So I'm very excited about May, and I hope that I can keep up the pace in my reading. Like I said, if you're interested in what I read for Genrethon, the link to my wrap-up will be down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.